Hello, hello. So if you're watching this, you are probably new to Warsim, or maybe you're just watching this for fun. But regardless, I'm going to pretend that you're new to Warsim. This is going to be a sort of tutorial on what to do when you've just started the game, because for a lot of people, games that have ASCII in them can be a bit intimidating. I don't think Warsim is as bad, but I think still that initial push and understanding of what's going on in the world might be a bit of a turn off for some people. So this is just to help that a little bit. And I have the benefit of being the solo developer of the game and know the game like the back of my hand, so I know what to do. However, the game does still have a lot of procedurally generated aspects that are unpredictable, and I've been working on this game for over 7 years at this point, and there have been a couple of times where there have been features in it that I've totally forgotten even existed. So, you know, no one's perfect, but hey, I'm the best bet you got. So let's have a look and try and figure out how to play your first few years of Warsim. So the first choice you get is a choice of 4 different options as to how you're going to sort of lay out your world. The default is to just let it randomly generate the races to fill your world, but you can also completely create custom ones yourself, have an entirely custom game where you're customizing every part of what happens, or have some preset race packs, which could be things like Tolkien-like races, races that only have green skin, etc. So I'm going to go with the default, and I'm going to say I want to get random races, but I want to be able to see what it's given me and choose whether I want a different batch. So as for how many years I want the game to go on for, honestly, it depends how much you micromanage and well, yeah, that's the word for it. How much you micromanage, basically. One in-game year could honestly take you hours if you were spending time exploring the world and speaking to everyone in your throne room and doing all sorts of stuff. Whereas you could also be so focused on conquest, you could just be ending the turn and battling and ending the turn and not really caring. So it depends on your playstyle, on how fast the game will go. But 25 years even is a decent amount of time. Oh, excuse me. And there's also no forcing you to continue, to stop playing once you hit that limit. So it does give you an effective game over, but that is skippable, where you can sort of continue infinitely, because Warsim is a game of choice. So let's go with 50 years. We're going to stick to the classic menu theme. I'm going to be a king, and let's randomly generate a name. Nedrick Amundsen. Why not? Random kingdom name. Let's go. Humongous land. Hell yeah. I'm going to go for a normal game. So there are various different modes you can choose from. Now, mostly they just determine your starting resources and land, your starting army, and the strength of the enemies in your world. But also, as you play later on, it also ensures that the enemies you fight will continually be stronger than they would if you were playing on a lower difficulty, for example. And now I'm going to let the game generate, and it should give us the batch of races, and I'll see whether I'll accept them or not. Interesting. There is some very interesting stuff here. So we've got surface tritons, forest elephant people, canyon mermen, fertile mages, and a baby winter lyrebirdling kingdom called the Wow, led by King Ftfdif. So that is a special system that I made that basically makes a random rule set using certain characters and tries to make a language for certain races that are made out of animals. As you can see, it's very coherent. I'm going to skip. I actually want to generate a new set of races, but we can also check their troop tree and see how strong these groups would be in the world. So, oh, those guys are particularly strong. Those foresters as Fanti. So let's generate a new set. Let's see what it throws us. We've got immortal demigods. Wow. Okay. Green cannibals, grey low-ghouls, supernatural dune tree men, and laughing kobolds. I love it. I'm going to go for those for sure. Let's go. So now it's going to generate them. It's going to generate some races, some adventurer groups based on those races, and then it should slap us right in to... There we go. So those are the races we've got. And now I get to choose how I end up becoming the ruler of this kingdom. So the default is to leave it up to fate, but my personal favorite is becoming the ruler by winning a tournament to decide who the ruler is, because you start off with 2 randomly generated tough champions. In this case, Sir Nazar the Unknowable and Sir Spellicule of the Ancient Isle. Interesting. Then we go to our crowning ceremony, and let's find out. Here we go. High General approaches. and I'll just skip through his dialogue. Now, as is our old tradition, and the ceremonious way, gather the coin of tradition. Lovely, it's a good omen. So every single time you start a game, you get a random ceremony. Now he's going to tell me about my kingdom. I don't really care. We're going to skip the tutorial, and let's just jump straight in. So I can see I've got 2,000 gold, 705 men, 5 lands, 35 public opinion, and 50 years remaining. And the year is 140. There are 23 people waiting to see me in the throne room. There are 10 fights waiting in the arena. And there are 3 chances I have to explore and discover new land. So at this point, you might be thinking, what do I do? Well, it really sort of depends on what direction you want to go in. But I would honestly recommend, if you were starting out, to sort of have a little dip into every single section and understand what you can do and what options are available to you. But if you don't want to do that, just watch me do it. So we're going to go into the recruit, sell, and disband troops. And obviously we've already got an army of 705 men, which isn't bad. But we're going to want to have a look and see what's going on in the world. So the various prices of units is randomly generated within reason and does sort of change as the game goes on. But also the people who sell, for example, tribal goblins, the goblin slaver, always has a different trait. And they come and go and change. And in this instance, I have gotten extremely lucky because this guy is giving away goblin slaves for free. So I'm going to take all of those. Gulak, the goblin slaver, is brought before you and offers them as servants for free. Why not? And there we go. Boom. 203 new goblins for my army. So now I have 908 troops. So that was actually perfect. I honestly probably wouldn't see that happen again for a while. So that is very, very lucky. And he's going to continually stock them up every turn until he gets replaced, killed, etc. You can also do it yourself if you wish to, but why bother biting the hand that feeds you? So I'm going to hire the bandits in the prison, and I'm not going to hire any of the other units because they're quite expensive. I might get a few peasants actually from the militia because they're 16 gold each. So the different units do different things. Knights are the most expensive unit that you can buy, and they are very powerful units that are able to do well in battle, but can also be assigned to go on quests, to lead parties. They can be given roles in your knightly order. They can be put through trials and turned into champions. And they can also be sent to try and find certain locations when you are at a place where you need to sort of search harder to find them and stuff, like climbing a mountain and so on. So they're very, very special units that do have a lot of good uses. However, they are also extraordinarily expensive. Peasants are probably the best unit to have for your economy because they actively produce gold for you. Whereas soldiers, knights, and so on, they actually cost money. And then bandits are similarly kind of like peasants, except they steal money from other factions for you, which, I mean, depending on how you look at it, it's probably better than peasants in a way because that money is coming from your enemy, making them weaker. But I'm going to hire some peasants. We can currently hire all of them, but I'm just going to take 16. Oh, we couldn't hire all of them. My bad. So we've also got the option to sell units here. So, for example, if I wanted to sell some knights, I have 5, so I might sell 1, and I've got some gold. I can disband units if I want to get rid of them, essentially. I can convert units. So if I want to turn my soldiers into peasants to maybe help my economy, I can do that here. And then there are further things you can do when you upgrade. And then we've got some recruitment upgrades here. So you can see what they do with the little description there. And then I can change the wages. And all that means is that you'll be paying a lot more money, and there is the chance that new soldiers will come and join you essentially because they hear of the good wages you're offering. So it's a chance to get some free troops, but it can be pricey. So obviously if you've got a massive army, that might not be as viable for you. So after that, we've got mercenary companies. So mercenary companies are groups that essentially allow you to attack factions more than just one time per year. They can also be hired by your enemy. You can hire them for individual attacks, or you can hire them permanently. If they're hired permanently, they will not work for anyone else, but if they're hired just on a single contract and there's any spare attacks they have left, other kingdoms may hire them to do their dirty work, including attacking you. So you can see that there's some with the glowing little goblin sign there, and that is a mercenary group made up entirely of goblins. So they're weaker, usually cheaper, and there's usually more of them. However, it depends on the laws you have in your world. So in this case, we have legal goblin slavery, which is where I got those 203 free peasants from. However, some of these goblin groups might not be so keen on working for someone who allows goblin slavery. So we'll have a look and see what they say. So yep, this group refuses to work for us for that reason, and so do they. Gibgob Dreamcloak and Rebbed Foe Grinder. Both some excellent sounding goblins, but yeah, they won't work for us. However, it's okay because there are 5 groups. So we have the Fall Pigeons, the Island Greenhand, and the Platinum Wolves. And I assume they're fine to work for us. So I can't afford them right now. Nor them. Oh, someone's beeping outside. Nor them. So when you have more money later on, it is sometimes a viable option to attack a group, and even to sort of weaken them. You can also put some of your own soldiers in these mercenary groups if you want to, and build them and bulk them up, but you can find it out for yourself, essentially. Now we go to the champions and staff screen. So the guy that was going to give us the tutorial, Old Kroll, and my High General, Gorin Pikener, are the default staff. Although their faces are always proc gen, they themselves are pretty bog standard. And to be honest, Old Kroll is shit as a diplomat. You might get some even worse replacements, but the best course of action would probably be to get rid of him and see about hiring a replacement. So we've got a few: Moog Lovespoon, Idris the Headstrong, and Handur the Filth Flicker. And they give you a little speech on why they matter, but it's clear when you look at it that skill level wise, Idris the Headstrong is the best. However, he is also significantly the more expensive. But hey, got to spend money to make money. Let's take him. So I can also hire a spy master who will help me with understanding what my enemies are up to, and getting a better idea of the total enemy strengths in battle and things like that. I've got a court jester who will literally just tell you jokes. So if that's something that you're into, hire them. They're a lot cheaper than other staff members for that reason. You can hire a steward, and their job is to deal with the throne room if you don't want to, because if a player wants to not deal with something, why should they, right? You're the king or queen or emperor or empress or mystery other title. And then, of course, we have the 5 champion slots. So the player can have up to 5 personal champions who will fight for them. In this case, we have the 2 that I got for the arena champion start. However, if I wanted to hire some more, I've got a big list here of current champions that are for hire, including a really, really good one. Actually, there's 2. Borkrid the Conqueror Centurion and Sir Gargold the Warmonger Longblade. And then you can see the red ones are the weakest: Nanak the Woe, Dofar Stonebug, Harak the Badly Beaten. And then going all the way up to the glowing white colour are the stronger ones. And I can also pay money if I want them to reset this list and I want to get a whole new list of champions, but it's going to cost you. However, another option, which is a very good early game start idea for getting a new champion, is to turn one of your knights into one, as I mentioned earlier. Now, you can only do this once per year. So we call forward one of our knights, and this guy, Kakranak, the Knight of Humongous Land, bows to you. So it's customary that they complete a trial to be considered a champion. However, you don't have to do that. It's just, if you don't do that, you might lose some public opinion. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have a trial. And I want to get him to get me a random artifact, because that will get me some gold. So let's send him out. And yep, he's off. Yeah! And he returns with a family heirloom that he found in a lost mine. So not the best item, honestly, but hey, 30 gold, can't argue with it. I'm not going to have a ceremony, even though it is tradition, just because money's a little tight at the moment. However, Kakranak, the Knight of Humongous Land, is a champion now. And he will be the 3rd champion, and there we go. So now I've got a 3rd champion. These guys can fight for us in battle, they can do various quests, they can take over fortresses, so we're not doing too bad. Now we go to the diplomacy section. We have various factions that exist in our world. In this case, we've got the Bandit Horde, the Goblin Kingdoms, we've got the Militia, who are part of our own faction, we've got the various Bandit Groups, the various independent kingdoms, which are made up of all the races that were generated, and adventure groups, and of course we've got our wonderful friend Gulak the Goblin Slaver. So I'll work through them. Can I offer him peace? Go on, we'll send a soldier as an emissary. Only if I'm willing to pay, and I don't have that money, so that ain't happening. Can't really speak to the goblins because I'm not very civil. Or sorry, they're not very civil. Oh, Freudian slip there. We've got independent kingdoms, so we've got the Sia Tribe. Idighop. That is an interesting name. They are laughing kobolds. So, let's have a look. So we've got a bunch of options when we enter these menus. And that's that we can try. Trade and diplomacy, we can look at their information, learn about them and stuff like that. Declare war on them if we want to. And of course, vassalization, which would make them essentially a subservient kingdom underneath us. So, oh, they're xenophobic. So they will only do any kind of diplomacy if I was a demigod creature like them, which I am not. So, no deal with them. We're at war with the green cannibals. Lovely. Let's see if we can make peace with them. So this is a randomly generated system where I'm not going to be able to tell you what happens in advance, but we'll see. I'm going to send my diplomat. And we get a number of things that nudge in different directions depending on what's going on. So we're less likely for it due to our relation with them. However, our diplomat has good skill. And we also... their leader is very stupid. And for some reason that works in our favor at this moment. So... Okay, they've replied and said that if we pay 500 gold, they'll make peace with us. So I'm going to ask if they'll do it for less, just because sometimes they do. No, okay, they're not willing to. Okay, 500 gold. Beautiful. And I've gained some public opinion for that as well. So now we're at peace with them. Sheriff Mog Steel Forge. We can make some trade deals. No, they're also xenophobic. What is it with xenophobia in this world? That feels like a real statement there. Right, we can go to Corpse Waldler Kingdom. That's quite a name. So, as you see there, your head diplomat tells you that diplomatic action with the kingdom is not possible due to their unintelligent and savage nature. So, because they're ghouls, I guess, that makes them pretty savage. There are various things that can affect them. But because they aren't a civilized nation, they are not capable of diplomacy. And this is the upside, downside, I don't know, of random generation. There are some instances where you'll start your Warsim world with a batch of races that are just completely savage. You might get lucky and get all completely civilized ones you can talk to. It's a complete roll of the dice. And to be honest, I like it that way. I think it keeps it interesting. But in this case, it's not looking very good for us so far. We've got the Wind Tyranny. It's a hell of a kingdom name. Tyrant Thistlebeard the Grave Filler. That is another very interesting name. Let's offer peace. Send my diplomat. And in this case, the leader is strange, and that works against us. So let's see. The leader of this tree kingdom has approached me. My only issue is my trust in this really being peace. Can I trust you? Well, the word trust is thrown around lots. Nah, you know what? You can trust me. There we go. Perfect. Can we trade with them? Oh, they're not xenophobic. Fantastic. So let's try and sort out a trade deal. They will accept the trade deal if I promise to kill and hang 3 peasants from my gates. That is the strange leader personality trait playing in there. So, you know what? I'm going to do it. Here we go. We got very lucky. So, in some instances, people could get very upset about this, but they just assumed those people deserved it, and no one cares. And now we've got a trade route. Fantastic. Dare I ask for an alliance? They want us to round up and burn 100 peasants in a big fire to commemorate the alliance. Now this doesn't feel like a good idea. So I'm going to refuse. But, you know, maybe one day. And that is diplomacy with those groups. We've got minor bandit groups. We've got the land militia. Let's have a look at those. So these are the peasants that I was hiring earlier on. When I hired peasants from my own kingdom, they come from the militia. So what happens is any peasants that are left behind that I don't pick up from the militia stay as a force that defends my land if I'm attacked, but only if I ask them to. So I might say, don't bother getting involved, so I can give them orders. Currently, they're pledged to stay out of all military affairs, but I'm going to ask them to get more involved and more involved. So now they're going to be very present. We can also fire the militia leader and get a different leader. So I'm actually going to look into what the leader does. Let's have a look. So the militia leader is a highly defensive... Oh, wait, no. Highly defensive will help you defend. My bad, I read the wrong part. The leader perk is Money Grubber. So they make the militia cost an extra gold every single year, and it will continue to rise. So we don't really want Nalfan the Slow-Minded to be the militia leader, so I'm going to actually fire him. And next year they'll get a new leader, so we'll see what comes of that. As for bandit groups, let's have a little look at those. So these are groups that are generated based on a background number called the general bandit level. As you can see here, it's 82, which means infested. So this is a number that is also somewhat randomly generated as the game starts. And essentially this is indicative of how bandity your world is. So in some instances you might have quite a low bandit level, in which case if a bandit group is wiped out, new ones won't take their place very easily. Bandit recruitment will be low everywhere. Bandit factions in the world will struggle to recruit and so on. Whereas if the level is very high, you'll see bandit groups pop up almost immediately as soon as another one is defeated. Bandits will be available to hire everywhere, and much more robbery will happen and things like that. And the way that you can reduce the level is by destroying locations that contain bandits, and by defeating bandit groups in the world, and also by enacting laws such as bounties on the heads of bandits and stuff like that. But you can also increase the bandit level if you wish to, by, for example, freeing bandits, closing your prison down, and enacting certain laws as well. So I'm going to look at some of the bandit groups we've got here. We've got Woodland Raiders, the Reaving Overwatch, the dreaded Cheetah Wolverines, the infamous Grey Cloaks, and the Croydon Ravens. So 2 of those groups are truced with us, which I guess is another randomly generated benefit. They won't buy or sell units. So there's various things we can do. But I don't really want to deal with them, to be honest, because they're a bit of a pain in the arse, bandits. Really just good to whack 'em all, take some lands. It depends what you want. Some of the bandit groups do have special traits where they'll sell you lands, or they'll buy troops off you, or sell you troops and things, so depending on what your prerogative is, it could be helpful. In one instance, for example, I saw a bandit group that was very powerful, and they ended up defeating a kingdom and stealing all of their land. And they sold it to me for quite a nice discount, so I was quite happy to buy up a bunch of lands and strengthen my kingdom thanks to this deal with the bandit group. So don't sleep on them, but also it's free real estate. So now we've got adventurer groups. These are random groups made up of the races in our world, and I can already see a little bug there with that text, so that's fun. I'll have to look into that in a bit. So we've got, I'll look at the first one, the Gold Taker Voyaging Band. So that tells me they're probably thieves. Yeah, they're a group that engages in thievery, and they are from the Laughing Kobold's kingdom. So I can do various things with them. As the game progresses, these groups will adventure in the world and do things that relate to what their goal is. In this case, their goal is thievery, so they might steal from us, other factions, or they'll do general sort of theft quests. These groups can sort of come and go, so this group might get killed off in a fight with a fiery wombat for all I know. There are millions and millions and millions of random events that can happen. The player's personal interaction with them is that you can send out a group to attack them, which you can only do once a year. So you can't wipe them all out, but you can make a start on one. You can also try and summon them to the throne room if you have an emissary. In this case, I don't have emissaries, but I can get them by building an upgrade that allows me to send emissaries out. So in this case, I don't like thieves. Let's have a look, see if what's their relation to me? So I don't know whether they like me or not. Oh, here we go. It says they're wary of us, but not outright hostile. Well, that's not good enough. Let's send a group to fight them. So I'm going to send 1 knight and 20 soldiers, and let's take these bad boys down. And we destroy them. Beautiful. Oh, and the warband brings you a chest looted from them with an ornate rectangle shield inside with 150 gold. There we go. Much better than the family heirloom we got earlier on. And now if I have a look, that group is defeated. Has no living members. Love to see it. And beyond that, I think that is everything in the diplomacy section to look into. So now we're going to move on to kingdom upgrades and laws in the land. So for laws of the land, these are things that affect your taxes. So I'm going to put a banking tax on to get some more money. And you lose public opinion as you put taxes and certain laws. You can also gain things from others. We could ban goblin slavery, which would make those mercenary groups like us. But just free goblins every year is just too tempting at the moment. And various other policies. We can also start our own holiday, our own celebration, which could include feasting and things like that. and you get to sort of decide what rules you want in that yourself. And then we've got kingdom upgrades, which are broken down into a number of categories. If it's green, it's something you can afford. And these various different upgrades can do all different kinds of things. There's a little emissary hut, actually. Boom, let's go for that. And does it instantly give me one? I think it might. Let's have a look. Let's go to the broken faction. There we go. Let's try and summon them. So, send an emissary with an offer. What is it with beeping on the street, honestly? Send an emissary, summoning them with a demand. Send them a small gift, a generous gift, or a very generous gift. Okay. Let's go with a offer. Okay. Oh, there's a bunch of things that it's not looking good, to be honest. We don't have a good relation with them. Apparently, because they're a slave group, they're not happy that we don't own slaves, and they don't like that we've got a good public opinion. So these guys are dicks. And they're too elusive to even be found, and that was my emissary wasted. But hey, we'll get another one next turn now, thanks to that upgrade at least. And then we've got the throne room. So I'll skip through these for the moment and return, because the throne room's quite a big one. We'll look at the royal bank. So this is a place where you can store your gold. It makes it safe from raids, things like that. And it gains you interest depending on stuff. So because I've got a bank tax, the interest rate is a lot lower than it would be. So I'm earning a whopping 2 gold a year, which, you know, at this rate, in 15 years, I'll be able to buy myself my own family heirloom. But no, I'll withdraw all the gold so that we can... Oh, wow, that's nice. 3,113 now. You can also raid the bank if you want. It's not advised, but... why not? One of your soldiers steps forward and says to you, "Are you sure you wish to destroy the royal bank, my lord? How dare you question me? Do not do it again." There we go. Alright. So now we're going to battle. Who are we sending to fight? I'll choose myself this time. So I'm going to send 113 peasant. No, I'll send 213. I'll send all my soldiers. I'll send 1 knight. I'll send all my bandits. All my goblins. And I'm going to send all my champions too. So now I've got a choice. Do I want to watch the battle or just see what happens afterwards? Well, I'm going to watch it. And it's raining at the moment. Or a rainy night sky. Let's wait a while, see if something else happens. Oh my god. Flaming rain is what happens when we wait. This will be fun. So under the flaming rain, my army marches out to meet the enemy group. And the battle begins. So we've got to kill... Well, we've just defeated 31 of them, but we have 169 more enemy royal guards to kill. And hey, there we go. In the midst of the battle, some heavy flaming rain hammers down on their side of the field. Beautiful. Let's keep going. Oh, nice. A pincer movement. Sees a big band of them wiped out. We're so close now. Hey, there we go. Nizar the Unknowable rolls forward into a group of enemies, leaps up, and battles them all with ferocity. 4 Royal Bank guards killed. And we've done it. So we should get a bunch of gold now. Do I want to view the battle report? Why not? So we can see how many we lost, how many they lost. And if I want, I can pay some fancy egghead to make a battle report for me, but I'm not going to do that. And yeah, we've ruined the bank. We got 7,228 gold, and we've lost 40 public opinion. So we're still breaking even with 2 public opinion here, but now we've got a sizable chunk of gold at least. Would I recommend doing that in your playthroughs? Probably not. I don't know. It really depends. Do you want to be a real dick? Crack on. Do what you want. But, I don't know. Not my usual playthrough action, but we can do what we want. So now we've got other kingdom buildings, so we can visit the prison. These are buildings you can build and upgrade. Any prisoners that get arrested in your kingdom will be put here. Currently we have none. And then we've got kingdom reports, which is a section for basically everything else, to be honest. So when you finish a year, you can look at some of the stuff that happened here. I can view a breakdown of all my troops, etc. And yeah, that's pretty much everything now besides throne room, the arena, and exploring the realms. So I'll go through them all. The easiest will be the arena. So the arena in this case is a colossal arena, which is really awesome. It is randomly generated each time. So the size of the arena varies. In this case, it's gigantic, so there's going to be a lot more money you can win gambling. The amount of fights every year is going to be higher. But the leader, the person who owns the arena, varies as well, and that can have an effect. So some of them might not allow gambling. Some of them might be a distant family member of yours and give you money. So let's go and have a look. And the arena is owned by someone called Dessel the Grand. Entry fee to watch the fight is also randomly generated. In this case, it's 23 gold. So, there's a lot of different things you can do here. You can speak to the owner, buy the arena, attack the arena. You can look at the Hall of Fame of champions from the past. You can look at the current Grand Champion, who every year will battle a competing champion to retain their title. And you can watch a regular fight, or bet on one. So in this case, we're going to do some gambling, which honestly wasn't intentional, but has kind of become the backbone of a lot of Warsim runs. And we've got a green cannibal against a supernatural Dune Tree-Man champion. So it's not always units from the races in your world. Sometimes it's sort of generic units like soldiers, bandits, etc. But it also obviously uses races in your world. So in this case, this arena fight has never happened before. These two units have never clashed for any player ever in Warsim, and I can say that with confidence. However, I'm pretty sure that a giant supernatural tree man champion is going to be better than some measly green cannibal. So I'm going to put all my money on it. 5,000 gold. Don't let me down. The crowd's cheering for the green cannibal for some reason. Oh, tree man blocks some hits. Come on, tree man. He trips over. Hey.
Overkill.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Awesome. And that is also my voice saying overkill, just with a pitch shift over it. But hey, there we go. So I won some gold. The arena has inevitably run out of gold, so they won't accept any more bets. And that, my friends, is Stonks. And this is the current champion, and I can do various things, including asking them to join me as a personal champion, have them anointed to become a knight. So his name is Hoddle the Apache, but I can make him Sir Hoddle the Apache. Makes him slightly stronger. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do here, a lot to get lost in if you want to, but that is the gist of the arena. And I'm now even richer, so this is not too bad for a first-year run-through. So we also have Exploring the Realm and the Throne Room, which, to be honest, are some of the most important elements of the game, which is why I saved them till last. So we're going to explore the realm. We've got an option of 4 different regions of the world. So each region is broken down into sort of sub-regions. So we can see the north has 30 places to explore. Well, there are 3 sections, each with 10 locations in it. With the Eastern Grasslands, there's a section with 10, another with 10, and another with 9, and so on. So if we go and look at the north, we can learn a bit about it, and we can see that we've got 3 chances to explore, and we found nothing yet. So let's go. So I've used my explore chance, and I've discovered a slaveness fort. I'll try again, and I've discovered the Black Market, and I'll do it one more time, and I've discovered Fort Northwatch. So it's not actually common to get 3 locations discovered in a row. Usually you'll get random events based on the region you're exploring and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll find nothing. In that case, I got quite lucky. So the 3 locations we discovered are ruled by bandits and slavers, as you can see in the little brackets there, and all of them can be visited. So if I go to the slavers fort, I can buy slaves. I can speak to the slave ruler. You know, we can attack them if we want, but they have a lot more men than we do. We've got this fortress, which can be taken over, can be purchased. And then we've got the Black Market, which luckily we're allowed in there because the leader of it is randomly generated every time and also has sort of various reasons why they might allow us in or not. The Black Market is one of my favourite locations in the game because it is absolutely ginormous. In that we go in and you can see that there's 6 districts here that you can go into. And each district, and there's some random events that happen, each district has a mountain of locations, each of which themselves can be explored. So for example, we just entered the central district. In the centre of the Black Market, we've got a guy that does tours of the city, we've got various other things, board games, unit hiring, but we've also got market stalls, which takes you to another section, such as the Wheel of Wealth. Let's spin it. Wow. I'm on a roll today. Don't gamble, kids. And yeah, so there's literally endless things to do in this world. That is one location out of hundreds, and in it there are literally hundreds of things to do. So exploring is honestly the meat and potatoes of a Warsim run if you want to really get the most out of it, because the things you can find, the opportunities you have are endless. And finally, without any further ado, we got the Throne Room, which is the last part of what I would do. So it's just going to give me the basic tutorial. Don't really care about that. So we've got a line of 23 people that are waiting to see me. So these are going to be people that are coming to you to talk to you about any number of things, from complaints, they want to tell you a joke, A goblin wants to piss on your throne room floor. It could be literally anything. You can do a number of things in here, including asking your guards to not allow certain types of visitors in. So what I tend to do is say, I don't want anyone coming here begging. I don't want anyone coming here complaining. I don't want mercenaries. I don't want goblins. I don't want musicians. I don't want jesters, stuff like that. And you can sort of specify, and it will of course reduce the number of people that have come to see you, but will filter out the ones you don't want to deal with. You can also just tell them all to leave, and you can upgrade your throne room so that you can host entertainment acts in here, and you'll get more visitors every year and stuff. And I can also call a council meeting, which means all of my staff will come and we can talk about things. I can ask them questions. So I can say, I want a bigger harvest. More hands in the field is surely the only way. Well, it's not the best route, but if you really need extra, you may consider declaring longer harvest hours. Blah, blah, blah. You know, you get the point. So it's another way to have a sort of impromptu, almost tutorial. The responses vary every time, so asking the same question multiple times does yield different results if you want to sort of try and get a better understanding. But now, this is another thing that I cannot predict. Let's see what comes through. So we've got an unhappy butcher who's come in possession of a magical fruit. Do I want to buy this magical fruit? I will seize it. And, of course, the reactions are also random. In this case, he said, you know what? I'll never let it be said that our ruler does not have a sense of humour, before running away. Pretty smart move, in my opinion. Who else we've got? A travelling bard wants to play a song on his vampiric lute. I'm not the worst musician. Oh, sorry, my mouse pointer was on there, didn't realise. What's your name, buddy? Azaleterse. How the hell do you pronounce that? Azaleterse? Azaleterse? Azaleterse. That honestly sounds like a Northern English person asking you what is on the letter you just got in your mailbox. Azaleterse there, lad. Right, do we listen to the song? Why not? He's not even charging me for it. And by listening to it, the Musicians Guild likes me more. Beautiful. Okay, that was such a great performance. He stares at me blankly. Okay. I'm going to let him leave. Goodbye. Right, who else we got? A sickly-looking man who claims one of my soldiers bedded his daughter and wants reparations. He wants me 56 gold to be paid for that. No. Refuses request. This scroll said you were a kind and would fairly... nah, go away. Who else we got? An armed man who says he wants to join on the battlefield. Go for it. Oh, I didn't expect you to actually agree. Yes. So, obviously, these things are inconsequential, but you have opportunities to gain public opinion. There are some really big events that can happen in the throne room, and then obviously, you know, you're slowly gaining troops and things. And it is fun, but I must warn you that as you play the game, if you build a giant empire with 1,000 lands, you may very well find yourself dealing with 10,000 throne room visitors. In which case, and I have seen players that have ended up going, I'm going to speak to every single one of them. And that to me just feels like willingly banging your head against a wall for 10 hours. But hey, you know, to each their own. Play a choice, baby. I'm going to see a few more. So a man who has some advice for me at a cost of 14 gold. I'm good. Damn it. And leaves. Yeah, get out of here. The guards have brought someone who's accused of pretending to be a guard and then going around and bullying people into giving him gold. What's the story? No comment. Alright. To the dungeons with him. And it is believed he was guilty, so there's now a prisoner in my prison. And also, public opinion has increased a little bit. And if I just keep arresting people who've done crimes, they'll forget that I destroyed their bank. So that's excellent. A travelling jester who says I'm something of a comedian. And for the low, low price of absolutely nothing, I'll tell you a joke. Well, I can't deny that, Mr. Triple Chin. Let's go. Why did the monkeys... What did the monkey say to the banana? Nothing. Monkeys can't talk. Terrible. Alright, what else have we got? A supernatural Dune Treeman champion from the Wind Tyranny seeks refuge with me after being mistreated. How were you mistreated? They said I was too ugly and beat me with whips. Go on, we'll take him. And now the Wind Tyranny faction is a bit upset with us for doing that, but hey, we got a cool champion out of it. Right, who else we got? You're visited by a mad Becker who says, Is it brave or foolish to dare a king to kill me? And then he looks at you nervously. Foolish. Kill him. Okay, what else we got? Traveling bard who wants to play a song on his elven lute for 360 gold? You're having a laugh, mate. What's your name? His name is Mazar. Alright, Mazar, you can fuck right off. And the Musicians Guild is now back to default relation with me because they don't like that I refuse to pay that extortionate price. And we've got someone who's collecting gold for the black market for the slums. Go on, we'll give you 10 gold. Well, it's more than most have given. Goodbye. Yeah, off with you. Right, who else we got? A local herbalist who wants to join your army, as his older brother did. Yep. Wonderful. And he's a peasant, so he'll help us on the field. Someone who is spying for the bandit horde. Go on. A king must do what he must do. Okay. What about the arresting guard? What's he saying? Your guard says, this man is very well-known criminal. His guilt is known across the land. Well, sounds guilty to me. Dungeons. Please, no, I beg of you. Alright. I'll do one more. A loud gambler who wants to join your army as his children were eaten by goblins. Hope they marinated them first. There we go. Alright. And that is practically the end of Warsim. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to also end the turn so you can see what happens at the end. But that is your first year in Warsim. So as you can see, I've done a lot of chaotic stuff. But your mileage may vary. The things that happen, the layout of your world will guaranteed be different in many ways. A different arena, different rulers, different goblin slaver, different factions, races, bandit groups, different chances and odds and random events and throne room visitors and so on. But this is the gist of it. And like with everything, if you have any questions, shoot me a message, leave a comment, anything like that, and I will do my darndest to make sure I get back to you. I am most active on the Warsim Discord, the Reddit, stuff like that, so honestly I do aim to reply to every single comment. But I'm not going to chat shit any longer. Let's end the year. And right, so they're telling me that I have some throne room visitors that I could still deal with, but I don't really give a fuck about that, so let's just move on. And now, at the end of the turn, you have a choice of launching an attack on any of the factions in your world. So we've got the Bandit Horde, the Goblin Kingdoms, we've got the 5 bandit gangs, 2 of which that we were truced with, and then we've got the independent kingdoms that we know, including the one that is at war with us, the Kingdom of Corpse Waldler. I know it's bad, but I kind of want to attack the Idighop because they're cackling kobolds or something, and I think that would mean they would laugh at us before battle, and I don't often see these creatures generated in the world, so I want to see it. So now we get to choose whether we want to skirmish, raid, or invade, or we can ask for a bit more information. So skirmishing is just a straight up fight in a field somewhere, and this is just a battle to the death. A raid is trying to steal some money from them. It's a bit harder, it's a bit of a tougher fight. An invasion is we are taking their land. Not all of their lands, just one of their territories. So if they have 5, we'd have to invade 5 times to wipe them out. But if you don't invade, they retain their lands, they won't be defeated. So invasion is the only way to truly eradicate a faction. So we'll try and invade. Yeah, why not? And I'm going to send everyone. Fuck it. Send all of my champions. Let's watch the battle. So it's currently snowing. Let's wait a while. And there we go. There's the laughing kobolds laughing at us in the distance. So the weather changes. Troops prepare. And a great night storm shrouds the battlefield. This will be fun. Alright. Oh wow, they outnumber us nearly 2 to 1. Oh my god, that was bad. A small green frog hops across the battlefield and makes it to the other side. Good for him. Oh my god, not even 1 kill? Oh my god, that was a storm of lightning that hit our side. That's just the way she goes, I guess. Ooh, not bad actually though there. 185 kills and we lost 15 troops. Can't argue with that. Oh, that's not looking good. I reckon we're done next battle phase. Oh, we're still in the fight. Not for long. Oh, I haven't seen my champions do anything. All of your fighters are dead, but your 3 champions still remain. Do you want them to fight to the end or retreat and fight another day? Well, for the sake of the video, let's go out with a bang. Kakranak, the Knight of Humongous Lang, charges purposely towards the enemy lines and swings his sword like a madman. He kills 5 laughing kobolds and a laughing kobold warrior before being ultimately defeated. Belakul of the Ancient Isle does the same, and he gets one more Kobold Warrior than his other companion.
Uh-oh.
And last guy, oh, nice, 8 Laughing Kobolds. For the king, he says. And that's it. We lost. And that is all of our troops wiped out. So, now, may as well end the turn. Oh, we're being attacked by the Krut. I'm going to skip the battle. We lost the land. And now, skip the battle report. So, following the removal of the previous militia leader last year, your new militia leader, Lacus the Tomb Raider, has sworn in and vows to protect the realm and serve you as best as he can. He has promised the militiamen that he will work to increase their hiring fee, plus 2 gold per year. Oh my god, so this guy is literally twice as bad as the last guy for the same trait. Shame. And now we have a end of turn report. So you can view this and understand what happened in your world. So we can see the money we've earned, caravans, trade we have with the Wind Tyranny, new troops we gained. So we got 24 soldiers that have enlisted and joined us. The wages we've had to pay. We were robbed by the infamous Grey Cloaks. And then notable events in the world. The Reaving Overwatch attempted to raid us but were caught. Our defense palisades prevented a raid from happening. The militia has recruited 52 new recruits. The leader of the black market has been assassinated and replaced by Gummus the Undead. And interesting, that name implies that the guy is a undead worshipper or a necromancer. So it is entirely plausible now that an undead horde would be raised from the black market. The general bandit level has risen, so that's fun. And Sir Hoddle the Apache won his arena fight. And then battle reports. A bandit gang called the Winter Woodland Raiders were wiped out. The Corpse Waldler hired the Yammering White Hand, one of the mercenary groups, to raid the lands of the infamous Grey Cloaks, but were unsuccessful. And the dreaded Cheetah Wolverines, which I think were a bandit gang, invaded the lands of the Sia Tribe. So, very, very interesting. A lot of stuff going on. And now, I start a new turn. And that is your first year of Warsim, basically summarized. So I'm going to wrap the video up now because it's already been a whopping 47 minutes, and this is just literally a toe dip into the first year. And now you're probably going to better understand what I was saying at the start about how if you really micromanage, you could properly spend like a ridiculous number of hours in just year 1. But it doesn't have to be that way. You know, I didn't have to do all of this stuff. I could have just had my men, my money at the start, done literally nothing, and immediately ended the turn and done some fighting. That's how some people play it. Each their own, hey? But yeah, just to clarify again, any questions, any confusion, any bugs, any mysteries, shoot me a message and I will do my absolute best to get back to you. But otherwise, that has been a summary of the first year in Warsim. I'm sorry about the 2 honking horns that happened in the background there, and hopefully this wasn't an incoherent babble. But I appreciate you watching, and if you've played the game or you're enjoying the game, thank you so much. I hope you continue to. So, peace!